wants to ruin their social standing? I do. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I appreciate you taking the time out and spending it with your favorite girl. I have been on the edge of my seat wondering what happens next in the story, so we're going to hop back in to what is sure to be mess. If you haven't watched my last video where I was reading this story, definitely go check it out because you're not gonna know what's going on, and I wouldn't leave it up to 13-year-old Temmie to obey the laws of continuity. As a quick refresher, Troublemakers is a story that I wrote in middle school where me and my closest friends were superheroes that went to a superhero high school. We have four main, protagonists? I think protagonist is a stretch to describe these girls, but we'll go with protagonists. Four main protagonists. We have Martha, aka Off Guard. Her powers are super strength and teleportation and an unhealthy obsession with the band Big Time Rush. Then we have Grace, but the kids know her as Arctic Blade. Her powers are centered in water and ice with the ability to heal and also make you feel really, really, really bad about yourself. Coming around the corner is Aminata, or Crystal Clear, with 2 Ks. She can control fire and also has the power of invisibility. Her arch nemesis is the Top Shelf because Aminata is tiny. And last but not least, you have yours truly, but in this story, she goes by Temmie Kinetic. She has telekinesis and the ability to turn into any animal she wants, and apparently has the worst temper in the entire school. And did I mention that all 4 of these girls can't stand each other? Now, where we last left off, the girls had just set off on a mission to uncover a plot that could very well threaten the world and supers everywhere. However, it seems like their principal, Mrs. Sue Purr, has a dastardly scheme going on behind the scenes that could very well threaten the girls. All right, enough chit chat, let's hop in. It was the evening when TK decided they should rest, or her for that matter. The flying took a lot out of her. She and Off Guard had set up camp when they heard a sizzle of fire. Why do you have to be such a pain? Why do you have to be so cold-hearted? That's like asking why the sun rises. Because I am, you hothead. Whatever, you stupid popsicle. Clear's hands were encased in fire and Arctic had out her water whip. Those were their fighting elements. Clear's face had a whip mark on it and Arctic's neck was burned. Oh, so we getting active off rip. Every time Clear tried to go at Arctic, she was brought back by the whip. That's when Clear went invisible for a couple of seconds and reappeared behind Arctic with her hands on her neck. From the way they were positioned, Clear was about to twist Arctic's neck. She said, stop talking shit. It's about time. I've been said they need to beat each other's asses. Suddenly, both girls were on the ground and Off Guard came and stood on them. Dudes, not cool. At this point, us getting along is mandatory. That's right. When things get to the point where we're trying to kill each other, we have to chill. Oh, now we decide that murder is going too far. You know, it's very concerning how easy it is for these girls to want to murder each other. Clear and Arctic sat up glaring at each other. Temmie Kinetic shook her head. Ooh, I've got a great idea, bursted out Off Guard. She took him to a running start and disappeared into a white light. She just teleported. A few minutes later, she came back with her arms full of ingredients. Sugar, cream, toppings, a couple of containers, and all for free. Not her stealing. We love a queen against capitalism. She put all the ingredients in both containers and added vanilla to one, chocolate to the other. She shook them up and handed them to Arctic. Blow. They all knew what Off Guard was doing, so Arctic blew. Ice cream and toppings, yum. They all sat eating their ice cream around the fire that Clear created. Why do we all hate each other so much? Arctic said suddenly. I can answer that. We're complete opposites of each other. Fire, ice, certain people are rational. We're complete opposites. They all thought about that. Can we at least try for now on? They all smiled. Sure. What you put in that ice cream, Off Guard? Off Guard definitely put crack in that ice cream because there ain't no way y'all homies that quick. They all talked for a couple more minutes when TK said suddenly, I've got something to say. When we were packing, Mrs. Purr came in my room and told me that you guys would try to kill me. The other 3 girls' jaws dropped. Well, we would have fought, but we wouldn't have killed you. I wasn't gonna kill Arctic. I just wanted to scare her a little. Yeah, I know that now. See, I keep telling you, Mrs. Purr is a hater, bro. That's weird. Mrs. Purr told us you weren't stabilized, but that's crazy though. Temmie Kinetic was quiet, right? Well, let's just say that I didn't come here on exactly normal terms. She saw all the girls' questioning looks. Oh, all right. It was freshman year when I started getting my mind powers. I was in the lunchroom sitting with my friends, and all of a sudden I started to hear their voices. They weren't talking though. I was able to figure out pretty quickly that it was their thoughts, and started to figure out what their thoughts were about me. That I was slutty and know-it-all. It was so much noise that I freaked out and may have or may not have flipped the table on them. All of them went to the hospital and one of them needed surgery. My mom realized that I couldn't stay there. There was silence until Clear started clapping. Clear said, "Y'all!" There was silence until Clear started clapping. What a great example of justice. Clear is too much. Ma'am, can you explain the reason why you felt the need to stomp this person into the ground? Justice. Ooh, child, the second these girls turn 18, they are immediately going to prison. Alright, where to now, Chief? TK got down on all fours and sniffed the ground. West. We could probably get there in about 2 days, but we'd have to travel on foot because I can't move as fast carrying you guys. They all stood around figuring out how to get there quickly. Oh, I got it. She whispered into Off Guard's ear. Off Guard nodded and smiled. She transported again. What, more ice cream? A few seconds later, 4 motorcycles appeared with Off Guard. They're like 16! What's going on? Who gave them the motorcycles? Let's ride. There are your helmets. I even got the guy to spray paint our tattoos on the side. Yo, you're amazing, dude. Who is this business person? They had been riding for maybe half an hour when the girls heard TK say, "Hey girls," to them in their heads. TK? TK, what are you doing here? Clear? What are you doing in my head? Now I know I'm sober. So that just means I'm crazy. Nobody's crazy. I can just access everyone's mind, kind of like a chat line. I got tired of riding in silence. Oh wow, that's interesting. Don't go looking through my thoughts, please. Off Guard, who is this James character? I just told this bitch not to go through my thoughts. Shut up, TK. For those of you who don't know, James is the head white boy of Big Time Rush. Temmie Kinetic laughed out loud. It was the most fun she'd had since she came to SP High. Aw, look at them bonding with all of their stolen goods. They had all been teasing Off Guard about James when out of nowhere, Clear was knocked off her bike. The rest of them stopped their bikes and ran to her. She was knocked out and cut badly. What in the world was that? Suddenly, they heard a sinister growling. Turning around, there was a morphed Wolverine behind them. Oh shoot, it's a Rouster. Arctic, take Clear and take care of her immediately. I don't know if its bite's poisonous or not. Rousters were these power-hungry creatures who sniff out powers and eat the wielders. Some Rousters had poisonous bites that would keep the super from fighting back. Temmie Kinetic got down on all fours and let out a growl of her own. A gray tail grew out from behind her. Off Guard guessed she was a wolf. Oh. Off Guard, I'm reading this beast's thoughts and all it has on its mind is hunger. Be careful. TK and the Rouster charged each other in a mess of fur and claws. Temmie Kinetic was knocked into a nearby boulder and let out an injured yell. Damn, not me getting beat up. Off Guard and the Rouster stared at each other in a face-off. It charged and Off Guard waited calmly. It got closer and closer, but Off Guard waited. When it was within inches of her, she kicked it so powerfully that the Rouster was like a speck in the sky. Not her punching this dangerous behind it. She said, You all right, TK? Temmie Kinetic stood up holding her side and gave a thumbs up. Arctic, how's Clear? Arctic had Clear leaned up against the rock. Her water powers had healing abilities. She's fine. The Rouster's bite was definitely poisonous, but I already got that out. Come on, Clear. Wake up, you fool! Ugh. We will never speak of this again. This isn't normal. Rousters don't go after underdeveloped supers like us. You're right, Arctic. This isn't normal. Off Guard. Do me a favor and bring that thing back here. TK, what are you thinking? Just hurry up and bring it before it dies. They all sat around for a couple of minutes when Off Guard came back. Well, he's not dead, but he won't be able to hang on much longer. Temmie Kinetic put her hands on its head and her violet eyes glowed. Out of nowhere, her head snapped back and her neck went limp. Arctic jumped up, but Clear coaxed her back down. It was about 5 minutes before she came back, and she didn't look happy. In fact, her eyes were smoldering. She glared down at the weak animal and snapped its neck. She said, "Run up, get done up." Whoa, TK, what did you see? Mrs. Purr. TK walked over to her bike and got on. Are you sure this is the place? Clear asked for the third time. It better be. They all stared at the orange Home Depot sign. Okay. Why of all places would I pick Home Depot? Imagine you're some villain trying to take over the world and you're like, I need a home base. Let's go down to the local Home Depot. Walking in, they were immediately greeted by one of those annoying workers trying to get them to buy stuff. Where to, Chief? Temmie Kinetic just stood there. She looked a little pale. She ran over to the garbage can and vomited. You okay, bud? Yeah, I'm fine. Just a little nauseous. The smell's coming from the basement. They went to the back of the store and came to a door that said employees only. Arctic reached for the doorknob, but a worker ran up and said,
You can't go in there.
Aw, I really don't care. Clear hooked off and punched him in the face. Do not have the time, dude. See, now was it worth it? Should have minded your business. Walking down the stairs, Off Guard realized it took longer to get to the basement. Reaching the bottom though, it seemed like just a regular basement for a hardware store. All the girls' jaws dropped. No way he can be the bad guy. He was too fine. He was too fine. His head was shaved into a fade cut, but black hair was growing back. He had gorgeous gray eyes, smooth chocolate skin, and he was nice and tall. He had a cute smile with a row of white teeth. Wait, hang on. Who is this character supposed to be? I need to figure out who this character is gonna look like. Okay, so he's gonna be Hercules Mulligan from Hamilton. Yes. Yes, with gray eyes. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Wow, you are fine. Yes, taste! She clapped her hand over her mouth. She didn't mean to say that. Why, girl? Don't be shy. You are too. He said, giving a flirtatious wink. The taste! However, it looks like you end here. Sorry. The girls took out their weapons. Yeah. Let's just get it over with and kill him so we can go home. He waved his hand and all of their weapons came to him. We'll have none of that. Ah, I see. You can control metal, sir. Touche. Arctic said, obviously impressed. Not you trying to talk to my man. Excuse me. I haven't had hand-to-hand combat in a while. Bring it on, pretty boy. Arctic channeled her power to her hands, turning them blue with ice. She charged him with a barrage of punches, but he dodged each and every one. Arctic pushed off with her left foot, sending her into the air, and aimed at his head with her other foot. He caught her, though, and threw her into a pile of nails. My fault. I don't enjoy hitting women. Off Guard transported and came up behind him. She punched him in the back of his head, but she ended up holding her hand. Metal control and becoming metal, guys. He whipped around and caught Off Guard in her throat. Shoot, he could catch me in my throat. Knocking her into the concrete stairs. Suddenly, the room was filled with the sound of a chainsaw. Crystal Clear gave a manic laugh and surrounded it with fire. Wanna get burned, pretty boy? Their enemy smiled and waved his hand. The chainsaw rose to the ceiling and Clear went with it. Yes, because we just learned 30 seconds ago that he can control metal! All that was left was him and Temmie Kinetic. She was looking paler and was wobbly on her feet. Hey, you okay, girl? He asked, sounding genuinely concerned. She wiped sweat off her forehead. What do you care? Well, I want a fair fight. TK smirked. Not us flirting. She grew a monkey's tail and started using its characteristics. Swinging from the lights, she came over his head and dropped down with her claws ready. How big is this basement? The enemy took a step back and knocked her to the ground. He picked her up by her neck and started to squeeze. TK tried to kick, but all she met was air. Looking at the guy who she thought would kill her, she saw in his arm a tattoo in gray ink that said "Live and Die Metallic" on his arm. Temmie Kinetic was losing air, but she managed to gasp out, We go to the same school. His eyes got wide with surprise and he put her down. Oh, why? Super high? They all nodded. My name is Trayvon, but I go by Alloy. Mrs. Purr told me that the people responsible for the eclipse would be here, and I was supposed to wait and destroy them. Yeah, well, Mrs. Purr told us that the person responsible for everything would be here too. Also, there was a Rowster with Mrs. Purr in its memories. I think we need to. Arctic was interrupted by TK collapsing on the ground. Her breathing became ragged and she was very warm. Off-Guard remembered how TK was holding her side earlier. She lifted up her shirt and on her side was the bite mark of a Rowster. Heal her, Arctic! I can't, the poison's been in too long. All I can do is provide morphine and lessen the symptoms, but we need someone who's more advanced in healing than I am. Just keep her alive until we can get to the school infirmary. All right. In fact, we all could use some healing. Alloy, pick her up and bring her outside. Outside behind the store, all of the girls were having a blast. Arctic had created a way for each of them so they could heal and get clean. It was like a big water slide. Is nobody gonna come get me? Are y'all about to just let me die? Is nobody gonna come get me? Alloy didn't need healing, so he stayed with TK. Oh, that's why nobody came to get me. TK's head was in his lap and he kept her cool with Clear's hat soaked in water. How you feeling? Weak, but comfortable. Let's go, you two lovers. We need to go back and kick the principal's butt. Every adolescent's dream. Woo! And on that note, I think I'm going to stop there. So much was going on in that story. I mean, shoot, if anything, I got me a man out of it. Oh man, this is so fun to read. Like the first time I was having a bit of an anxiety attack because it's been so long since I cracked these open. But now that like I'm used to it and I'm settling in, it's so funny. It's so funny because I can imagine the story in my head as I was writing it. And there is just so much. Like I really just wanted an action movie and I think I got a comedy. Anyway, if you want more, don't forget to like and comment just so I know. I definitely want to do this again because I don't read these when I turn the camera off and I'm very curious as to what will happen next. As always, if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and I'll see you guys next time.